All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty important, an owner's manual for the most powerful and, let's be honest, complicated tool you'll ever have, your own brain. And trust me, in this new age of AI, figuring out how this thing actually works, it's not just nice to know, it's absolutely essential. I mean, think about it. We've got AI that seems to know, well, everything. So this question becomes the big one, right? The whole game is changing. It's not so much about what you can remember anymore. It's all about how you think. And that changes everything. So, to really get a handle on the future of learning, we've got to first understand what we're dealing with here. What is this AI thing, really? Because it's a way bigger deal than most of us think. And this is a really important way to think about it. A lot of people see AI as just, another tool, another app on your phone. But that's like calling the whole internet just a big digital library. It totally undersells the massive shift that's happening. AI isn't just a smarter calculator. It's like a brand new layer on top of reality, a whole new environment for our brains to think and create in. And this right here, this is the core of the problem. Our whole school system, for the most part, was built for a different time, the industrial age. It was all about remembering stuff, cramming facts for a test. But AI has just completely blown that model out of the water. It can remember way more, way faster than any of us ever could. So the game has changed. It's not about who has the answers anymore. It's about who can ask the best questions. Okay, so if that old way of doing things is broken, what do? What's the solution? Well, the funny thing is, the answer isn't some new piece of tech. It's about finally understanding the tech we were all born with, our brain's own operating system. And for a long, long time, we've basically been doing it all wrong. It's like we've been trying to run Windows 95 on a brand new supercomputer. We've been treating our brains like they're just hard drives for storing information when they're actually built to be these incredible, creative processors. And this gets right down to the brain chemistry of it all. There's this principle in psychology, and what it basically says is this. When your brain feels threatened, stressed out, afraid of failing, it floods with cortisol and goes into survival mode, fight or flight. But when a brain feels safe, but also a little bit challenged, it gets this nice hit of dopamine, and that is the perfect sweet spot for learning and creative thinking. So how do we get to that sweet spot? Well, the good news is the science of brain-based learning can be broken down into three, let's call them golden rules, for really unlocking what our brains can do. Okay, rule number 1. This is the big one, the foundation for everything else. The brain needs to feel safe. And this isn't just a nice idea, it's a hardwired neurological fact. Fear and real learning, they just can't happen at the same time. When your brain's alarm bells are ringing, it literally shuts down access to your prefrontal cortex. And that's the exact part of the brain you need for all the cool stuff, like creative thinking and solving tough problems. And we've got the data to prove it. Check this out. A study back in 2018 found that something as simple as a teacher giving a warm hello at the classroom door, just that one small thing, was enough to boost student engagement by a whopping 20% and cut down on disruptive behavior. It's amazing. So, the big takeaway here is that creating safety isn't some fuzzy, abstract concept. It's about real, practical things you can do. It's about building trust. It's about letting people know that it's okay to make mistakes. In fact, that's how we learn. It's not about failure, it's about getting data. All right, that brings us to golden rule number 2. The brain craves meaning. You see, our brains are basically meaning-making machines. They're constantly scanning everything around us, looking for patterns, trying to connect the dots between what's new and what we already understand. Just throwing random, isolated facts at the brain, it's like trying to listen to a radio station that's just static. It gets ignored. The forest trail metaphor is perfect for this. This is literally neuroplasticity. When you just cram a bunch of facts for a test, you're creating these tiny, faint little pads in the forest of your brain. And guess what? They get overgrown and disappear almost immediately. But when you create meaningful connections, when you link something new to what you already know, what you care about, you're building superhighways, wide paved roads that your thoughts can travel down easily. So what's the recipe for making learning actually stick? Well, first, you gotta connect it to something the person already knows. Then you help them see the patterns in the connections. And finally, and this is a big one, you bring in emotion.
Scientists have shown that emotion basically acts like a neon highlighter for your memory. It screams at your brain, hey, pay attention, this bit is important, you're gonna wanna save this.
And that leads us right into our third and final golden rule. The brain is a physical thing.
It's funny. We tend to think of learning as this abstract thing that happens just from the neck up, but it's not. It involves your whole body. Your brain isn't just floating in a jar, it's part of a system. And how well it works depends completely on how well the rest of you is working.
I'm talking about the basics. Getting up and moving around pumps more blood to your brain, which literally helps build stronger connections. And sleep? Sleep isn't lazy. It's the brain's critical nightly maintenance crew, organizing all the information from the day and cementing it into memory. These things aren't just nice to haves. They are absolute non-negotiables if you want your brain to work at its best. Okay, so let's tie this all together. We've got our 3 golden rules for a happy, high-performing brain: safety, meaning, and physical health. So what? Well, it turns out that focusing on these 3 things is exactly what we need to do to thrive in this new era of AI. And here's why.
It all comes down to one incredible master skill called metacognition. And that's just a fancy word for thinking about your thinking. It's being aware of how you learn, how you solve problems, and this is the skill you need to effectively work with AI.
Because here's the thing. AI isn't some magic wand you can just wave to be more creative or innovative. A big study from MIT actually found that AI's power is only really unleashed when the person using it knows how to guide it, when they can step back, reflect on their own thought process, and tell the AI exactly what to do. And just look at the difference here. A weak prompt is basically just asking a question, right? Tell me about climate change. But a metacognitive prompt, that's a whole other level. It shows you've thought about your goal, your audience, the specifics you need. This is the difference between being a passenger and being the driver. This is how you turn AI from a glorified search engine into a real partner in thinking.
So at the end of the day, the future isn't about us trying to compete with machines at their own game. The answering game, they've got that covered. The future is about us doubling down on what makes us human. It's about nurturing our brain's incredible natural ability to ask powerful questions, to see the big picture, and to create something new. And that leaves us with the real challenge, doesn't it? How do we build a world that teaches us to do just that?